Have you ever bought something that looked amazing, only for it to fall apart after 1 or 2 wears? Whether you're shopping high street, vintage, or investing in a high-end item, knowing what makes something good quality puts the power back in your hands. Because unfortunately, higher price doesn't necessarily equal higher quality anymore. This video is another part in my high quality clothes series. Last time we talked about the summer fabrics you should and shouldn't be wearing, and this time we are talking about construction. I pulled together some common capsule wardrobe pieces from my own wardrobe, and we are going to compare them side by side, talk about what's good, what's bad, what to avoid, and what to look for. Just a side note, I'm not a seamstress. I'm just your average shopper. I'm just someone that loves clothes and wants to buy better, buy less pieces, but buy better, because I've bought so much junk in the past and I'm just sick of it. I don't claim to know all the ins and outs of sewing and construction. I'm also not claiming that the pieces I'm showing you that are good quality are like the best quality that money can buy you. I'm showing pieces that I've bought within my own budget, a reasonable budget, that is good quality. And you know, I'm learning as we go, so we can learn together. If you have any more tips, please share them in the comments below so that we can all learn together. Now, if understanding quality and how clothes are made is your thing, then you are going to love today's sponsor, Craftsy. Craftsy is an online community of creatives where members can find inspiring classes in things like sewing, knitting, crocheting, and quilting, as well as things like cooking and baking. As you know, I started knitting at the beginning of this year, and Craftsy has been such a great resource for me to level up my skills. As a beginner, I've made so many mistakes, and so taking Anne Budd's class on fixing knitting mistakes has been so helpful. That class has helped me fix so many mistakes that I've made without having to start again, and it has been such a lifesaver. I'm already eyeing up some of the beginner crochet classes to try and make some like cute baby gifts, because so many of my friends have either just had a baby or are currently pregnant, and I just think making gifts would be so cute. I spend so much time staring at my computer screen that actually making something with my hands has been a really refreshing thing for me to do. Classes range from beginner to more intermediate, but every class gives step-by-step instructions that are easy to follow, and Craftsy are constantly adding new classes, so you will always find new projects that you want to get started on. And the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description box will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for $1.49. Thank you so much, Craftsy, for sponsoring this video, and let's get into the clothes. Starting with a common summer staple, a pair of tailored shorts. I've had both of these pieces in my wardrobe for many years, and it's not until recently that I started to really look much more closely at what makes something good or bad quality, and now I can really tell a difference in both of these. So let's start with this pair, which you may remember from my last video as being a not so great pair. And I will tell you where each piece is from, but I don't want that to be the focus for this video. I think the point of this video is to be able to identify quality, regardless of brand, regardless of price, because each item just needs to be looked at individually. So these are from Dish, and I bought these maybe 5 or so years ago, maybe more, I don't know, something like that. And when I first bought them, I thought they were, you know, they were all right. A good pair of tailored shorts. They're 100% linen. But now that I have kind of delved into quality a bit more and I look at these, I do kind of think like, how did I ever think these were good quality? So firstly, the linen it's not a great linen. It's a bit hard. They are lined, so you don't feel the scratchiness on the inside, but it's not the nicest linen I've ever felt. And if we do a crumple test, so obviously linen wrinkles, but a bad linen will give you like a stiff wrinkle. So let's scrunch it and see how these lines are so harsh. A good linen will still wrinkle, but it will be more of like a lived in soft wrinkle, whereas this is just, that is a hard wrinkle. So that is not good. And then as we look closer into the stitching, we can see that on the belt loops, the stitches are completely uneven. They are different sizes and they're not even like evenly spaced on the belt loops. The inside button where you button it up has popped off, and I remember that that button was just really floppy on this tiny bit of thread. Like that is a tiny piece of thread holding on to that button. That button was holding on for dear life. And I remember I kept thinking I should probably like sew these on tighter, but I just never did. And of course it just popped off. And you know, to me, a really red flag sign of badly made clothes are fake pockets. And these have fake pockets on the side and a fake pocket at the back. And the reason why I think things like fake buttons, fake pockets are just so bad is because, well, two things. Firstly, obviously it's like cheaper to do because you don't have to actually make real functioning pockets. And then secondly, it just shows me that the brand has put style over functionality, that they don't actually care how you're gonna wear these shorts. They just kind of made them to look good. And I think that's quite deceiving for a customer. And I think that just tells you everything you need to know about that brand, that they have just cut corners to make something look good. And it's not actually functional for our everyday lives. So fake pockets to me is just like a huge no-no. If we turn these inside out, this is where you can really see if something has been put together well or not. So we can see that this waistband has been finished with an overlock. So, you know, you see an edge of fabric and it has all those like little loopy stitches. That is called an overlock. And these stitches are really quick and easy to do. It's like the most easy, quickest way to finish something, and it's like the bare minimum. We can also see stitches where the belt loops have been stitched on and it just doesn't look great. The loops are like huge. It's just not a neat finishing, and I think anyone can see that. It's just finished very quickly and not much care has been put into it. So again, I bought these years ago when I was not really looking that closely to my clothes. And I think that is the problem with a lot of clothes nowadays, is like if you saw someone wear these on an Instagram reel or like a TikTok video, you probably think, oh, those are a really nice pair of tailored shorts in like a really nice linen OT color. But that's the problem. They look good from afar, but when you really get up close, you can just see how badly and how quickly they've been made with no care whatsoever. So let's compare them to this pair of shorts. These are from COS, and again, I bought these years ago without really looking into them too much, but now I'm thanking my past self for buying them because they're a really well-made pair of shorts. So firstly, let's look at the belt loops. They have been stitched into the waistband at the top and not just stitched on top. That obviously takes a lot more skill and care. The belt loops at the front have this extra design feature where it's like a double belt loop that obviously didn't need to be done because the belt loops at the back are like normal single belt loops, but they've kind of like added this extra nice feature. It's something very subtle that they really didn't have to do. Like the belt loops could have just been a normal single belt loop, but adding in this extra design just makes these very simple shorts a bit more special. You'll see these stitches at the bottom of the belt loops. These are called bar tacks, and we love bar tacks. A bar tack is like a short, dense row of stitches, and they're usually placed at places where there's a lot of pulls, a lot of tension, to give it that extra reinforcement. And their job is to strengthen the seam and prevent splitting or tearing. And this is a sign of like intentional construction. So we love bar tacks. You'll see them at like pockets, you know, where your hand goes in and out and you're stretching the pocket. You'll see them at those points, you'll see them like at the zipper fly, and yeah, we love those. If we take a look at the button on the inside, still intact, and you can see that the thread under the button has been wound around to give it some extra space. It gives it extra space, and it also makes it obviously stronger. And that extra bit of space between the button and the fabric helps prevent pulling and makes the button just more durable. Again, it's a very small detail, but again, it's a sign that someone has actually thought about the person who's going to be wearing these shorts and haven't just made them for no reason. And then even though this is a button that's hidden, they haven't used like the cheapest button imaginable. It's still a nice button that has a little bit of dimension and a little bit of shape. Whereas from memory, I'm pretty sure the button on the Dish shorts was like one of those clear, transparent buttons that just like gives nothing. We have real pockets on the side and a real pocket at the back, although I haven't unstitched it because I don't really use the one at the back, but it's real. If I want to use it, I can. And then if we turn these inside out again, I mean, the waistband on these is like night and day from the other ones. So we can see that it's a completely clean and finished waistband. All the seams are enclosed and there's no overlocking or any raw edges in sight. Again, this is a sign of much higher construction quality, especially in, you know, trousers or shorts. And then one thing that I feel like is quite unique to COS, I don't often see it in other high street brands, is that they have this elastic waistband here, so you can tighten it if you need to. Again, this is not necessary. I think we see this a lot in like children's clothes, but in adult clothes, it's not that common. But it's such a nice to have, you know, especially as a woman, our body changes so much during the month, and it's just such a great attention to detail to have that. So you can pull the elastic and button it up and make it tighter if you need to, or you can just let it be completely free. And I love that the shorts give you the freedom to live your life. So again, all those little details add up, and just looking at your clothes for like less than 5 minutes and just looking more closely can give you such a big idea if that brand has put more time and effort and care and into making something. If they care about how you are gonna feel when you're wearing the pieces and not just making it and trying to make profit off it. Okay, I kind of feel like standing up is actually better. So I am now gonna compare two linen shirts. Oh my goodness. And I think that if you look at these side by side, they probably look fine. Like they probably look not that different in quality. But again, it's when we look at the details, you can really, really tell the difference. So this one is from Naked. This one is from With Nothing Underneath. And let's start with the Naked one. So these are both 100% linen, and you know, the linen on this is actually really soft. It feels really nice on the skin. It's a lot nicer than the Dish shorts, that's for sure. But after a few washes, it's already looking really, really fuzzy. It's pilling in some places, and overall, I just don't think it looks that good anymore. It looks a bit old, and it's not even that old. It's maybe like 2 years old. So there's that. The With Nothing Underneath linen, admittedly, this is new this year, so it hasn't been through as many washes as the Naked shirt. But when comparing the size of the yarn used, the yarn on this is much finer and smaller. And, you know, I could be wrong, but I have a feeling this is going to last a lot longer and not go as fuzzy as the Naked one after a few washes. So let's just look at the Naked one with a closer inspection. And if I come closer, so there has been some attempt at making the collar thicker. So there's 2 layers of fabric here, which is good. But the way that this sits, so the way it's been kind of folded under and sewn together, means that all the layers of fabric are sitting on top of each other. And you can kind of see that right at the tip, there's this bump, which just, you know, it doesn't look great. It doesn't lay flat, and you can just see that like thicker bit right at the end there, which just isn't a good look. I've also just noticed some threads coming out here. And you know, I think a little bit of thread here and there is fine, but it's when you see everything all together, like the big picture, all the little bad details all together is just like not good. If we look at the buttonhole, there are threads here, which you can see it's like not a completely nice clean buttonhole. And these buttons are obviously very, very cheap buttons. I mean, they're not the worst I've seen. They do have a little bit of shine to them at least, but it's not like a nice shine. It's like a very plasticky shine. I will say they are sewn on quite well, they feel quite secure, but there are some where like threads are kind of sticking out. This one in particular, you can see a thread there. And so overall, it just feels quite sloppy. Even on the inside of the shirt, you can see no time or care has been taken to hide this like overlock. It's just there. And then the sleeves, again, just very rudimentary. It's just a very bog standard shirt, I would say. So the sleeves just kind of like this straight cut, nothing special. So comparing that to the With Nothing Underneath shirt, we can see that the collar lays completely flat. And also look how tiny and precise and straight these stitches are. We love these tiny, tiny stitches. The more stitches there are, you know, the more fabric there is with a stitch, then, you know, the stronger it is and the less likely it's gonna fall apart. If we look at the buttonholes, look how clean the buttonholes are. Not a thread in sight compared to, you know, the naked one that had, you know, it was okay, but it was a bit messy. Look how clean. This is so clean and so nice. The buttons have a very nice sheen to them. And I think they also just sit really nicely on the shirt. Like they don't draw too much attention to themselves, but they just complement the shirt really, really nicely. They're also sewn on so neatly. You can just tell that so much more time and energy has gone into sewing each part of the shirt. And then even down to the cuffs and the sleeves, there has been some attention to detail, like making this curve. And again, all the stitches along the curve, it's just a beautiful sleeve. And I mean, a sleeve is something that most people probably don't even think about, especially, let's compare it. Like, let's do a direct comparison with this one, just so that you can see. Look at the difference of each sleeve and how the blue one has just so many more stitches. It looks so much more precise. And then this one is just like there, you know? I mean, obviously these are completely different price points, and I'm not saying you have to buy one or over the other. I'm not saying you have to spend more money, but it's just trying to show you the difference in quality. Even if I didn't buy this naked shirt, I would have much rather tried to look secondhand to buy something that is closer to this quality for probably like not that much more than I paid for this. And then one last thing that I want to point out for these shirts is the back. So we can see that this is just a plain back, whereas on the With Nothing Underneath shirt, we have a little pleat on each side. See that tiny pleat here and the tiny one here? That just helps give the shirt more drape without compromising on the fit. It also helps give more movement, like when you're reaching out for things, especially in fabrics such as linen that don't have a lot of stretch or any stretch in them. Having these little pleats just helps you move a lot nicer in the shirt. And again, just shows that some care has gone into how you're gonna feel when you are wearing something like this. And then finally, again, if we just have a quick look inside out, you can just see that everything here has been finished so neatly and it lays so beautifully and flat. Like, this is the inside of the shirt, and look how neat that is. Everything, all the raw edges have been hidden, so they're not gonna irritate you when you're wearing it. Whereas if we just quickly take a look at the naked one, all of the raw seams are still there and just kind of Again, finish with an overlock, which is really quick and easy to do. And yeah, you can just see how much more care and time has been put into the other one. So when it comes to t-shirts, I think a bad quality t-shirt is going to be sheer, it's going to be floppy. I mean, unless it's intentionally been made to look that way and that's what you want. I think with your average t-shirt, you want there to be some structure, you want there to be a bit of weight to it. I choose ones that have a thick ribbing on the neckline because this is going to help it keep its shape. I personally don't like t-shirts that don't have like a nice thick neckline, but that's just also personal preference. When it comes to good construction of a t-shirt, I think you want to look for a couple things. So firstly, I've turned this inside out. This is just like a Uniqlo t-shirt, and you want to look at the back of the t-shirt, like the collar at the back, and you want it to have this back neck binding because that is going to help it give it more structure. It's going to help it not deform when you put it into the wash, and it's just going to feel better on your neck as well. Also, a ribbed neckline is good because you can see it like has some stretch. So that's going to help you get in and out of your t-shirt easier, and then the bit of stretch will help it go back to its shape. So that is a very simple, easy sign to look for a good t-shirt. But a great t-shirt will continue this binding along the shoulders as well. And I do have an example of this. This is just another t-shirt I have in my wardrobe, and you can see that it has the back neck binding, and then it carries on the binding down to the shoulder. And this, again, it's gonna give you a better structure when you wear it. It's gonna sit on you a bit nicer. It's just gonna feel nicer as well. And it will help it keep its shape for longer after going through, you know, the washing machine. And again, it just shows that like a little bit more time and care has gone into the creation of this t-shirt. I mean, to be honest, I feel like it's harder nowadays to find a really, really badly made t-shirt, but that is just like one really easy thing to look for, to know that a bit of care has been put into it. I think that covers a lot of the basics for the things that we wear day to day. It's just about taking the time to get closer to our clothing and really inspect how it's been made. Has someone put in the care to think about how I'm gonna feel when I wear it? Can I move around in it? Is it functional for my day-to-day wear? Is it gonna fall apart? How do the stitches look? How does the inside look? That is such a big marker of quality. Once you just look for the basics, I think that covers a lot. But to give a few more quick fire things, I've got a few more examples to show you. So even with very simple tops, like this one, this is another linen top. I just have all my linen pieces out at the moment because it's summertime. A very simple crop top. We've got these darts here to allow for boobs, so it's not just like a straight boxy cut. It's, you know, because look how simple this top is, but it has darts sewn in there so that at least I have space for my boobs. And even things like, well, I mean, I love this waistcoat, but here we have, again, some darts put in so that when you tighten the back, it's going to give you a nice shape. It's not just going to scrunch up and look really strange. So this fits really, really nicely. And then especially when it comes to summertime, you need to ask yourself, are my clothes, you know, especially summer dresses or skirts that might be a little bit sheer, are they lined appropriately? So I have this dress from Realization Par that I've had for years, and I love it. I just wish that maybe the bust area was lined, because it is a little bit sheer, and I find that when I wear this, I have to wear nipple covers on top. And then this dress has a zip to get into it, and I think the zip is sewn in quite nicely, so it's quite hidden, so you can't even really see it. And then it unzips. Always check your zips. Do they zip? Is it hard to get into? Is it easy? This one's quite easy. And I think it's been sewn into the fabric quite well. So it's very, very hidden. It's a very small zip. And again, is the zip size appropriate for the size of the garment? I mean, a small zip is always going to be more delicate, so it also depends on the fabric. This is silk, so it doesn't need a big, heavy zip, but the size of the zip should always be, you know, right for the item as well. And then whilst we are on the topic of dresses, how does it sit on your body? This dress is new in for me. And it is a bias cut dress. It's not straight cut. So bias cut means that the fabric has been cut on a 45-degree angle. It often means that more fabric needs to be used to make the item. And it also requires more skill to make the item because of that bias cut. But the way a bias cut sits on you is just stunning. Like, I love a bias cut skirt, a bias cut trousers, bias cut dress is my favorite. And so I personally like to look for that in dresses, but obviously again, that is personal preference, but I just love the way this dress sits. And then when we get to things such as patterns, patterns should always line up as much as possible, especially on something like this, which is straight. You can see that the pocket completely lines up with the shirt, so it doesn't look jarring. It's completely straight. That is the bare minimum on something straight. Obviously summer is like florals and patterns, so you have to look at the pattern and decide, like, at least some amount of care should have been put in to match the florals or whatever the pattern is. It shouldn't look too jarring if you are looking at two panels and they are completely different. And then what else? Shearing, I'm not quite sure how to say it, but it's very popular during summertime. It kind of like gathers all the detail. You get a bit of shape, you get a bit of texture. It's when the fabric has been sewn with like elastic, so it creates that really stretchy fabric. I saw it the other day in a dress, and from the outside, it looked fine. From the inside, however, was a completely different story. It was so messy on the inside. The elastic was showing, which means it's going to be so uncomfortable to wear. It's going to be so scratchy and irritating. Again, always look on the inside of your garments. That really just shows you everything you need to know. So the next time you are out shopping, or you are just looking through your wardrobe, or you're doing a declutter, I really hope that this helps you in some way. Whether that's paying attention to the stitching or the buttons or the way something fits on your body, these tiny details add up and can make such a big difference on how something looks and feels on your body and how long it's going to last. So just remember, good quality doesn't always mean more expensive. It just means more mindful construction. If you found this helpful, be sure to check out the other videos in this series. I'll have them linked on screen. If you have a go-to trick to look for or just a pet peeve in clothing, let us know what they are in the comments. I would love to know. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.